Welcome to another edition of the Go Noles Podcast. I am your host, Gregory McCoy. This podcast is by a fan for fans. I am not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am not an insider. I do not work for a website. The majority of my content comes from me, in my opinion. Other information comes from the internet. Like I said earlier this week on the podcast, the regular podcast day, I didn't expect Florida State to win this game. Obviously, the 34-28 score, it wasn't that close. I was kind of shocked that the running game got off like it did, because I didn't expect that. I thought Clemson would be dominant against the run. I guess some of the guys that returned are still working their way back into game shape. So it was some rust out there. Breezy and Thomas. But I didn't expect us to win this game. And the offensive play calling was a little bit more creative than last week. So that was an improvement. The guys didn't quit. That was an improvement. I'm not saying that they've quit at any point this season, but I'm just saying just to consistently have that effort every week is an improvement from years past. Defensively, I don't know what we were doing. Clemson's offense is not too hard to figure out. It's, they just ran some of the same stuff that NC State ran against us. And like I said, that run play up the middle, from my era, my time, that's a power run play. And we just, for whatever reason, can't stop it. I mean, we stop it at times, but for the most part, it's pretty much a guarantee that whoever the running back is going to pop one of those power run plays at least once a game, if not multiple times. You get into some of these social media Florida State football groups, and you really, I'm not going to say you get a feel for the fan base, because I don't think a couple thousand people is the whole fan base, but you just, it's kind of weird just to see how some of the fans think, man. Like, I would never sit here and try to tell somebody else how to feel about anything, let alone being a Florida State fan. But I don't think firing Mike Norvell is the answer. I think he inherited a roster that he had to overhaul, and the offensive and defensive line play has improved every year while he's been the coach. So we just got to give him more time to get his guys in there. Like, if you fire Mike Norvell, I mean, the only guy that I feel like that you could bring in that would actually take the job and take this program back to where we want it to be is Deion. He's the only guy right now that could just, he could bring in top 5 recruiting classes every year and get the guys up front that we need to really do this thing. You look at a program like Tennessee. They've got a tremendous budget when it comes to football. So it's not surprising that they were able to turn around their program so fast. We don't have that. But, if you're either going to give Mike Norvell time to build his program, or you're going to fire him and get Deion, and Deion could probably turn this around in maybe year 1. Because I think a lot of players gravitate towards him because, he has the potential to be a NIL machine. Just because of the Hall of Fame thing and his play on the field and just his personality. I think a lot of players would gravitate towards Florida State just because of that. And I think, he's shown that, he can put a team together. He can get 5-star guys to come to Jackson State. That's not a small feat. I'm not calling for Mike Norvell's job, but I'm just saying it's going to take time to build that program the way that we want it to be. But, someone said to me in one of these social media groups that if you concede a game, you're not a fan. No, you just being real. Like, I did not think we were going to beat Clemson. At no point. Preseason, no, I didn't think we would beat them just because they have better offensive line play. They have better defensive line play. They have better coaching. Dabo Swinney understands situational football, but that's something that he had to go through. Because when he first took over Clemson, he didn't understand situational football. He had to go through the growing pains. And that's where we are now. So you just got to be patient. Mike Norvell is still relatively a young coach with his first big-time job. So, even when we was 4-0, we was playing with house money. So I didn't have us at 4-3 at this point. I had us at 2-5 at this point of the season. I had us at 2-5. Now this game, I think we play Georgia Tech next. I have us beating Georgia Tech. Now if we lose to Georgia Tech, there's a problem. Okay, I think we've lost to 3 ranked opponents. Okay, we can't lose to Georgia Tech. We cannot lose to Georgia Tech. Now, that's when I'm going to say, okay, the sky is falling, the house is on fire, and everything else. There's no way we can go out here and lose to Georgia Tech. We're a better team than Georgia Tech. Okay? We're better coached than Georgia Tech. All right? I'm not saying we should dominate them, but we should win that game. So I think we're on a bye week. I mean, you're going to see a lot of, how can I phrase this? We'll just say the dark side of this fan base coming out. I mean, if you're not into these, some of these social media groups, I mean, I just get on there and check them out, man. You'd be amazed. I got into an argument with a guy that I don't profess to be the end all, be all, end all when it comes to football and football knowledge. But if you've been a Florida State fan for a long period of time, you know that the first loss that we had in the ACC was against Virginia in 1995. And that final play that Warwick Dunn had or run, that was a power run play. That was a power run play. It's called 45 power. And that's the play that has been killing Florida State this whole season. Some dude is going to try to argue me down that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I just laughed, but I'm just saying, it's just, why are you arguing it? Regardless of what the play is called, you could just call it a dive play. Regardless, if the play is killing us, you arguing with me over what the play is called. It's just obnoxious. And I just recently, like in the last couple years, got into this whole social media thing with Florida State football. But you really just really say, man, there's a lot of people out here that, excuse my French, don't know shit about football. They just don't. They look at the game based on emotion. They don't look at the game from a factual standpoint. They don't look at the game from a personnel standpoint. I'll never concede a loss to my to anyone. We're going to go out here. We're going to win every game. That's my mindset. Like, you're not being real with yourself. Just because you concede doesn't mean you're not a fan. You're just being realistic. Like, I didn't think we would beat Clemson. I thought we could beat Wake Forest. I thought we could beat NC State. I thought we were on. I think even now we're on the same level as Wake and NC State. But they are better coached, and coaching makes a big difference, and especially in college. In pro football, you can have great talent and sucky coaching and still win a lot of games. You're probably not going to win the Super Bowl, but you can have great players and suspect coaching and still win a lot of games. But in college, high school and college, coaching is very important. Barry Switzer won the Super Bowl with the 95 Cowboys. He sucked, but look at the talent that he had on that team. So, I'm still riding with my guys, man. It sucks losing to Clemson for, 7 years now? It sucks, but I mean, we just gotta get better offensive and defensive line talent. That's what it comes down to. We gotta get our strength and conditioning program up to snuff. It's not up to snuff. It's not. Every game we have players on the ground. Every game. That's strength and conditioning. So I'm hoping, in 2 weeks when we play Georgia Tech, man, we can get a win and get off this 3-game losing streak. So thank you to all who listen. I appreciate the support. Podcasts available on YouTube. Podcasts available on all podcast platforms. As always, go Noles.